What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies and our D23 recap we got going on here at the channel. I am Jake Berlin, and I'm joined today by Jacob Hartley and Brian Avalosino as we sit down to try to discuss everything that happened with D23 this weekend. We knew that there was going to be a lot that the Mouse House was going to reveal, but Lord, did we not know that how much was going to be actually released. I mean, the amount of stuff that came out this weekend on Friday and Saturday, TV and movies, is pretty wild, and we're going to try our best here to recap everything and give our thoughts on everything. And this specific video is dedicated to Lucasfilm and what that studio was able to release over the weekend. We're going to do a video on each studio, basically, and all the major stuff they talked about. And we're going to be covering Star Wars for this one, and that includes both Disney Plus and film. Much more on the Disney Plus side, but before we get to our actual thoughts and breakdowns and everything, I mean, I know that we were expecting to see the Mandalorian trailer and possibly maybe some Episode 9 stuff, but did you guys expect to get this much information?
From Star Wars alone?
Yes.
No.
So the Mandalorian trailer was released a few days before D23.
No, it was released yesterday, or on Friday, but the announcement said that they were going to have a trailer on Friday. So the news of a trailer was going to be released.
Okay. No, I mean, I think we got just about the right amount of information. It wasn't a ton, but it was enough to, like, keep the excitement going and keep people excited. I have fears that certain things, so we can just talk about it right away. The Rey thing,
Episode 9.
It's been described that there's a scene which was shown where she steps out of the shadows and she has, like, some black cloak on, and she has a double-sided red lightsaber.
Yep.
That gets me way too excited than it should, but also I have a fear that it's a dream or a force vision.
That's what I say. It has to be. They're not going to reveal that.
That's the thing. Like, just don't show it to us then if it's that.
Well, we haven't seen it personally.
That's what I'm saying, but they know people are going to talk about it, right? Yeah. So for me, now I'm starting to shape this movie in my head of what I want it to be based off of that, and I already know it's going to be a vision or a dark side vision or something like that, which is fine, but I'd rather just see that in the movie and not know about it ahead of time.
Yeah, so just backing up just a little bit. So for Episode 9, we didn't really know what we were going to get for it this weekend. Like, we didn't expect to really see anything, right? I mean, they haven't really released a trailer at D23 before. They've always released a kind of like featurette or something along that lines. And they had a little bit of footage in the whole Disney trailer.
And it's always for the people there. It's never for the public. Yeah.
And so they brought the cast out on stage. They were talking normal. You know, everyone was there. All the big players.
And the droids.
And the droids, yes, of course. And then it was announced that, you know, we're giving everyone a poster. And they dropped the poster. The poster's ridiculous. Like, the poster is
I love it so
insane. You know, Palpatine in the shadows in the background. You have Rey and Kylo fighting down below.
I've been seeing 50-50 likes on Twitter for it.
That's fun.
Well,
a lot of people don't like the way he looks.
A lot of people are saying it looks like a fan art poster, which fan art posters are freaking sick. So
yeah,
I for the record am completely fine with that. It's dope as hell.
And so I was expecting just to see the poster. I was maybe like a behind the scenes featurette, but then they dropped like what's being considered as almost like a trailer in a way. A sizzle reel of footage, which
Monday
can be considered a trailer in a way. To a lot of people, and the big thing, like Jacob had mentioned, is that there was a lot of scenes in there, but the major one is that there was a moment where towards the end, Rey steps out, she's in black clothing, and she has a red double-sided lightsaber, which is the first time we'll ever see that outside of Darth Maul.
I wonder if it's her staff turned into that.
Possibly.
Because we've talked about that so much.
Yeah, like
ever since
the
Force
saber
Awakens,
pops out or whatever. Maybe
she altered it, maybe cut it a little shorter.
But like you had mentioned, and this is the first thing I told Brian when I sent him a screenshot, because I sent you the screenshot as well. It has to be Palpatine playing with her head at some point. Like, it has to be, because the sizzle reel also apparently had him talking to her directly.
Wow.
And so there's got to be some kind of point to where he's trying to show her the future or like what an outcome can be or something along that line, and that just happens to be the vision that
How
he shows
are they
her.
Gonna do all of this in one movie and supposedly wrap up the Skywalker saga?
We had this conversation last week on the Padawan about the runtime.
There's so much
Could
going
the runtime
on.
be close to what Avengers was with all this stuff going on?
I don't mind.
Like, it could very well be super high. But I mean, Brian, you hear this, man? Rey with a double-sided lightsaber, and you know, getting all this new stuff from Episode 9. What's the first thought that comes to mind?
Holy F. What are we getting ourselves into? What is about to be shown? I mean, we heard... I saw that Sizzle Reel is going to be released Monday. So, whether or not it's a different one, I don't know. But, I mean, my first thought is like you, where you think that it's a Force Vision or a dark-sided Force Vision. I mean, we've seen those in other source material, so it's not far-fetched. But, yeah, even if it is a Force Vision, seeing her...
Yeah, just seeing it on screen.
Or that, not the fan art, that, like, picture that they showed, the one that you sent me.
Well, that was fan art. That wasn't actually released.
I know, but, like, if it's something close to that, my gosh.
It'll probably look like that.
Yeah, it almost looked like a real piece of concept art with her, the double-sided lightsaber and everything. Yeah. But either way, it's pretty cool that they kind of seem to be diving into the Force and all this type of stuff with Palpatine.
Because there's no way there's enough time to show her switch to the dark side and then be like full-fledged where
and
she
it makes sense.
has
you know
a cloak,
what I mean?
unless they do a time jump. What if all the footage we've seen is like the first hour of the film and then there's like an endgame time jump? Never know.
Like maybe they figure out, I mean, we have seen time travel in Star Wars.
I'm just happy because, look, J.J. Abrams, he's wrapping up this saga, and look at all of Star Wars, and he has all of these toys he can play with. All this stuff he can use.
Yep.
And I think he's trying to use everything he can to the best of his ability.
Yep.
Bringing in Palpatine, just messing with us with Rey and having a double-sided red lightsaber. And everyone knows that's signature Maul thing, right? So
what if that was like the very last part of the movie? Her just walking out of the shadows?
No way. No way. I would be so mad.
Well, I mean, you know what would be funny about that is they always talk about how this is the end of the Skywalker saga, and she's not a Skywalker.
Exactly. That doesn't mean it has to be the end of her chapter.
That'd be wild.
And for me,
JJ be walking around like with the biggest balls in the history of the world if he actually did that.
That would
be the very last thing is her coming out of the shadow and then just the lightsaber lights
if
up.
that's true and it's real, not a vision, right? Something would have to happen to make her go down. But what is this whole trilogy about for her? Finding her parents. If she finds out the truth about her parents and something really messed up happened.
Or what if she also loses Finn too?
Yeah, and something really messed up happened, that could turn someone.
Because there was also a description in the sizzle reel that said that there was a moment of her and Poe fighting. They were physically fighting, and so I don't know.
I mean, Rey wins
if
that
it's like
fight.
training or if it's like part of the vision. But they kind of seem to be going all in on this stuff, so it could be quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, then we found out who Carrie Russell, her backstory a little bit. Did you see that?
We did. I didn't get to dive into that too much, but we did. You can explain that if you want to.
So she is a criminal with a past to Poe. So her story intertwined to Poe's.
Makes sense.
Probably an old friend or something.
That makes sense.
So, but that was it. I mean,
those type of characters like Poe always have a past. I mean, obviously Han.
Exactly.
And his character, they always have a past with certain people that kind of pop up because he wasn't. You can tell that the Resistance almost like saved him in a way. Like he may have had a past and diving into some other stuff that the Resistance almost saved him from something.
He's a crazy flyboy.
Exactly. Exactly.
What's her name calls him.
Okay. Well, we have a lot to talk about with Lucasfilm.
Can we talk about the Mandalorian trailer?
We can talk about the Mandalorian trailer.
Oh,
that's the big one.
My goodness.
That is the big one.
I mean, I already wrote you guys on the message.
Yes. We did a reaction. The reaction's up on the channel. You can see Brian and I doing it. But and we haven't talked to Jacob. We only saw his immediate reaction on the messenger. I mean, what do you think, man? The Mandalorian.
So I didn't watch it until Saturday morning.
Okay.
The trailer.
Was there a reason?
So Friday night, long story short, I just went straight from work somewhere and wasn't even paying attention to my phone, right? So I wake up Saturday morning and I watch it just right away on my phone, and I don't know why, because it's not like it's showing characters that I know or anything like that. I started crying, not like bawling my eyes out, but just teary-eyed, you know?
Tears
and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, this is a Star Wars property. Mm-hmm. This is from Star Wars, and it looks so amazing. Yeah. The tone and the feel of it is the best. I'm not saying it's the best trailer we've seen in this new era of Star Wars, right? But I'm saying the way the tone and the feel is the best we've ever seen since this since Disney bought Star Wars.
What a lot of people are saying is like this is what they've all been waiting for since Disney purchased Star Wars. Like this was the kind of Star Wars they've been waiting for.
How there's this kind of negative stigma around Star Wars right now. A lot of people aren't as excited about it. They say that's why Galaxy's Edge is failing. But this is going to get people excited and intrigued who aren't even huge Star Wars fans. And they're totally rebranding with this show because you hear the score. It kind of has this like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just has this really like
it's got a Western
badass feel to it, you know? And it kind of reminds me of that Solo score. It doesn't sound the same, but the style, which I love, that Solo score, that when the trailer starts, I think it was the second trailer, first or second trailer. Yes, and this just looks so amazing. It looks totally exactly like a Western movie or Western show, whatever you want to call it. And
it feels like a movie.
Yeah, it does.
It's going to be an 8-episode.
I showed it to my brother. He's like, "When does that come out? Like, when does it come out in theaters?" And I'm like, "That's a show." He's like, "What?"
It's going to be an 8-hour movie for sure.
Yeah,
100%. And you have Favreau on board, so it makes sense.
Can't freaking wait. It looks so amazing.
It looks wild. It looks. I mean, the main character.
The Wild West.
I keep calling it a space western.
Well, I'll tell. So before this trailer, I was 1,000 times more excited for Episode 9 just because that's what it is.
Episode 9.
But now it's a lot closer after this trailer.
Well, it just looks so. I feel okay. Here's what I think. I think the people that aren't into Star Wars are going, or not, shouldn't say into it, aren't like major fans of it, are going to love this because I feel like it's not going to be. It's going to hold the core of Star Wars, but not be to the point.
Because there are people who don't care about Jedi and Luke Skywalker and all that stuff, but they will like this.
You're more than likely going to be able to jump into this without any prior knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like they're going to mention the Battle of Endor and like the Empire and stuff, obviously because they're in there, but you can probably jump into this fresh and be excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, I just when I think about it, I think of like all the possibilities of like bounty hunter characters type showing up, like Cad Bane, like.
And it looks like the closest thing to a rated R that Disney's ever gonna go.
When he throws him into the
door and the spinning door shuts on the guy, I was like, what? And then when they show the guy frozen in the carbonite, I was like, I love how the way they did that with the camera and it starts backing up and it's like once you just make sure you see it.
I think those are his bounties that he's caught.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a bounty hunter type thing. You can see that Boba Fett used it too, and maybe they all heard about what Boba Fett did to Han and like we're gonna. Start
because that was the first time they tried it, right? In
maybe
Empire, and he was like, they were like, this might kill him, but now that they hear that Boba Fett used it successfully, now that he's using it.
Do we think we'll get a Boba Fett name drop in this?
Yes.
Probably. But it'll be something like those fakers, they stole our armor, and because they're not really Mandalorians, Boba Fett and Jango Fett.
Yeah,
they just
clones.
Stole the armor.
So, one thing that I want to talk about before we move on is Ming-Na Wen, who got cast in the show.
So she's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
She's from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She plays Agent May, and she was also the original voice of Mulan from the animated movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
And so she was in Disney. They did the very first Expo.
So she's in The Mandalorian?
Yes. And the first presentation they did at D23 was the Disney Legends panel. They brought out like 12 different people at a different time to honor them. And Robert Downey Jr. was the first one, and then later on they brought out Ming-Na Wen because of her connections with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Mulan. And at the very end, Bob Iger was like, oh yeah, she's also in The Mandalorian. And they like dropped it out of nowhere.
But did they ever say if she's in the first season?
No, but
they're filming number 2 right now, aren't they?
But I'm pretty sure she'll be in the first season. They wouldn't say that this early.
She's more than likely. I mean, if it's a cameo setting up something, but she's probably more than likely going to be in the first season. And my immediate thought was a live-action Sabine. And it would easily fit with the time period that we're in right now because that's the last time we saw her in Rebels. And she easily looks like she can play a Mandalorian warrior in some capacity. But I just wanted to throw it out there.
I think it's a possibility. Yeah. But wouldn't she be a little bit too old? Because Sabine's still young at the end of Rebels.
Yeah, I mean... But how long after Return of the Jedi does this take place?
So, actually... Okay, I'm thinking of Sabine before, but then they flash forward to after.
It's a good 10 years.
Because if you go from A New Hope to the end of Return of the Jedi, that's like 6 years at least.
6 to 10 years or somewhere.
Yeah, so okay, it could work. And then what is this? this is right after or
I think it's
shortly
like
after?
I think it's like 2 to 5 years after.
That's a possibility, but we know what she did, where she went after Rebels. So
And who she went with.
yeah, so then you're gonna have to explain that.
Maybe you do.
I would love that.
Maybe
yeah.
they're setting up for a
and
live
I mean,
action
it's
show
not,
with them.
Look, the thing is, we would sound like crazy fanboys wishing if it weren't for the fact that she's a Mandalorian and the show is called The Mandalorian. So that makes complete sense. And are we going to see the dark-saber in this show in live action for the first time?
Her helmet in live action would be amazing.
So they left the dark-saber with
her mother.
Yeah.
Yes, on Mandalore.
So I think we could see that.
Well,
too.
we're gonna see Mandalore, right?
I think we're going to see in the first season.
I think we have to.
I think season 2.
Or on the last episode, he has to go there for some reason, and
That's
he
like
shows up, and then
something like
season
that.
2 is about
Maybe that's where she pops up then.
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe she's in the last episode.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that she may be playing Sabine's mother.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense to me, to be honest.
Sabine's mother, who was on Mandalore, right? I mean,
And then
pulls
what
out
if
the dark
the end of the show she's like, I need you to go find my daughter.
oh my season
Goodness, dude. And this guy's like, all right, I'll go bring them
The
back.
bounty is to go find her.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
That'd be wild, right?
Hey, and then who would we see in season 2 if that happened? That bunch of characters.
Okay, so moving on from the Mandalore, just a quick, Clone Wars stuff. They didn't really reveal anything other than an image and a release date. The show does come out February 2020, and so that'll be released next year, early on, after the Mandalorian has dropped, and Episode 9 is pretty much capped out on his theatrical run, so that'll kind of be out there for Disney Plus as well. And then we got some Cassian Andor stuff, not a whole lot, just Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk were there to talk about the show. Didn't reveal a whole lot. Said filming begins next year, and so that'll probably be the next live-action show that happens, other than the big one, which we have been waiting years for, that was also announced to be filming next year as well, and that all the scripts have officially been written as well. Obi-Wan Kenobi is official. It is happening. Ewan McGregor is coming back to play the Master Jedi himself, and he was brought out on screen by Kathleen Kennedy for about a minute and a half or so. Basically asked Kathleen Kennedy ask me if I'm playing Obi-Wan Kenobi again. And he answered yes, and the crowd went crazy, and they walked off stage. And it begins filming next year. And it was also revealed that the show takes place 8 years after Revenge of the Sith, which is a great time period for this show. Luke's going to be 8 years old at that time. We saw his connection with him in the Star Wars comic book line that they have. There's a little story arc in there, so maybe they'll play with that. But initial thoughts, gentlemen, Obi-Wan Kenobi officially back on the little screen per se, but and Ewan McGregor coming back.
I wanted him to come out and go, hello there.
That would be cool.
So annoyed that he
That
didn't
would be
do
cool.
it. But I'm so excited because all these TV shows are like 8-hour-long movies, which means we get more than what we would have gotten if they made a movie.
And you don't have to worry about them failing at the box office either,
No.
like Solo.
So for me, anytime they announce one of these TV shows and it's something as important or beloved as his character in a TV show, give it to me, because it's going to be 8-hour-long movies, basically.
Yeah, I just feel so spoiled as a fan, to be honest. These 3 things, the Episode 9 stuff, the Mandalorian, and this, I just feel very spoiled and very grateful. My only goal is to just survive so you can watch all these things. That's my only goal. Yeah.
Yeah, so this because this isn't going to come out until 2021.
Yeah, so
Well, it's filming next year.
I
so
like that we
put
have a
year
timeline idea now, because I think that makes now I think Vader could possibly be in it, because we don't know when he finds out that that Anakin's still alive. We've never seen that.
That's true.
So how does that happen?
So are you saying we get Hayden Christensen act?
Not necessarily, but
think you do.
I would love that.
I think if you bring
he's
Vader
going to be
in
the Vader suit.
I think if you bring Vader in with an Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan, you have to get
me
Hayden
too.
Christensen.
And they're going to get great directors, so it's going to work out. And Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character of all time. Maybe favorite movie character of all time. So and Ewan McGregor, this is what I grew up watching. So I don't deserve this, but I'm getting it. So I just feel so happy.
If we had a Darth Vader type him reveal, like the first thing that I immediately think of is like how Ahsoka found out, where she like
Exactly.
cuts the thing off
That's
his
the thing.
chest
I
as
want
eye.
something like
He didn't even
that.
find out there, by the way.
Okay, whatever.
That's not this
But
episode
that's like
he
the
found
type
out.
of thing I imagine, like they're in a fight and then just. And then
I think
just
it'd be a force type thing.
Yeah, they'd probably feel each other's
Because
presence.
that's what happened with Ahsoka and Vader. She was in a ship far away, and she felt him. And it would be interesting because, I mean, I know that they shut themselves off from the Force, but this show's going to be very interesting because for all that we've known him for is the Force. How are they going to play with that? Because him and Yoda said, we're shutting ourselves off. We're not using the Force. We have to hide ourselves. And so how are they going to play with that in a world
That's
where...
interesting because we have to see him light a
lightsaber.
lightsaber.
We also know that
Use
Vader...
Rey's staff.
We also know that Vader in this time period is basically using bounty hunters to hunt down Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he does light that up, what happens? Does he come face to face with Inquisitors? Does he come face to
Oh
face
my
with
god, I didn't
Vader?
even think of possibility of live action Inquisitors.
Like maybe
I think for sure because he has to fight someone with the lightsaber, and it's not going to be Darth Vader and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll see an Inquisitor.
Oh god, give me
And the
a
thing is-
spinning lightsaber, please.
Yeah, and he's going to have to kill that Inquisitor because
well, like what if he's like tasked to essentially like go save a Padawan that's being hunted or something by an Inquisitor, something along that
I would
lines.
love
And maybe
that.
we know the Padawan from future, stories that we know in canon or whatever, or maybe Ahsoka pulls him into some kind of mission from that time period.
I've
'Cause we know
always
that she's out
said
there.
I've always said it would make the most sense for Ahsoka to appear in an Obi-Wan thing because they already have a relationship together.
Is there any possibility now with these two that there's no chance
So
we see a live action?
when is
Ahsoka?
the timeline that Ahsoka finds out that Vader's still alive, that Anakin's still alive?
It was closer to A New Hope.
Okay.
Because it was in
And
season
this
2
is-
of Rebels, and Rebels
Okay.
always took place
You're
on
right,
the
you're
back
right,
half
you're right.
of that
Okay.
gap of 19 years.
And this is 8 years after Sith.
Oh, excuse me,
Okay.
it was the end of season 1.
But still, I mean,
So-
Ahsoka could still appear, but it's not like
She's a younger version.
they couldn't have her in it and Vader, and then because she doesn't know that Vader's Anakin yet.
Yes.
So
It would be one or the other.
yeah,
And which one do you think is more likely, Vader or Ahsoka?
I think they would go to Vader.
I think more likely Vader because having Ahsoka in live action is such a big deal, and I don't.
And I guess a lot of people don't watch the shows, the cartoon
Yeah,
shows.
and it would be easier for people to
Vader.
see. Yeah, because imagine that the trailer even could say, like he just hears someone over talking. He was the most powerful Force user I've ever seen, and he's like, "What? Like who are you talking about?" And then he finds out that it's Anakin somehow. It would be crazy.
Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor,
The thing is, we wouldn't see Hayden's face, but
still.
yeah,
Maybe there's a way we can.
yeah,
Maybe there's
possibly.
a way that they could somehow.
Smart version of this.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
way we could. Well, I mean, any last thoughts on the Lucasfilm stuff that was released this weekend?
Is there any way we're not getting live action Ahsoka?
Eventually,
she's
we
just
will.
she's
I
just
think.
her character is really really strong in the animated format
I
because you
agree.
can do so much with her. And the also reason why is because, like I mentioned to Brian, I think I told this to Brian last week, but I just found out that if anybody wants to use Ahsoka, Dave Filoni has to give the okay to it.
Oh yeah, that's been a thing.
So because it was
for a
her,
while,
it's
yeah.
his character, and I just found this out. And so,
Oh really?
if say like Jon Favreau wanted to use her, Dave Filoni would have to give the okay to use her, or anybody else. And so
I
whoever
think it's
does,
more of a matter of respect because technically Disney owns Ahsoka, but I
Yes.
think it's more of a matter of respect.
or it might be in Filoni's contract
Possibly.
because he created the character. So
Actually, that's a
could
good
very well be
point
in the contract.
because he doesn't have an everlasting contract. I'm sure the last one that he signed has that in it. Yeah.
All right, well, Lucasfilm dropping the bombs on this weekend at D23.
And we have the Clone Wars coming out in February, but
We
that's
do.
all we know. I mean,
And the
All
image
we
the image was Ahsoka and a glimpse of Maul in the corner at what looked like a rooftop of some kind.
Dave Filoni, he just keeps giving us the goods. Like he won't let Ahsoka or Maul go, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories to tell. So, but yeah, there it is, guys. Our recap of Lucasfilm on D23. Like I had mentioned before we started talking, we're going to be doing all of this for Marvel and Disney. So check out those recaps as they were released. Leave their thoughts down below in the comments on everything as far as Lucasfilm goes. The Mandalorian, Episode 9. What do you think of the poster? Does it look like fan art to you? What do you think of the Mandalorian trailer and everything else going on for Star Wars? For Brian, Jacob, and myself, thank you for joining us on this episode of Apocaflix Movies today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey everyone, Jacob Bartley here. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out something similar from Apocaflix Movies, click this video up here. If you want something a little bit different, check out this video down here. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Apocaflix Movies and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.